Hello my friends. In this story, I will tell you the terrifying story of the Red Room. So follow the story. I assure you it takes a strong ghost to scare me. I have lived 28 years and I have not seen a ghost. I said it and stood before the flames with my cup in my hand. And then the man with the strong arm said, "It is your choice," and looked at me in pieces. And the old lady said, staring into the flames, and her eyes widened at my words, "Indeed, but you have lived 28 years, in which you have not seen the like of this house." So I put my glass on the table and went around the room, peeping at the mirror at the back of the room. And suddenly I heard the sound of a stick and heavy footsteps in the outer corridor. And the door creaked, and another old man entered, more bent and advanced in age. And he was leaning on a crutch, and his lower lip was drooping, revealing yellow teeth. He made his way to the chaise longue and sat on it quietly and began to cough. The woman did not show any indication that she had noticed his arrival and continued staring at the fire. The old man noticed my presence after he stopped coughing, so he tilted his head to see me in a better way. And then the old woman said, "This night is the only night. You have to go alone." I said to her, "Which way should I take?" She replied, "You walk this corridor until you reach a door, then a spiral staircase, then another door. Enter it and you will find the room on your left." The older man spoke for the first time, saying, "Are you really going?" My only reply was, "This is what I came for." The corridor was dusty, and the flame of my candle, which I had lit, was swaying, and the shadows on the wall were moving, and I saw a shadow climbing the stairs towards me, and another flying over me to melt into the darkness. Sides of the entrance to the red chamber. I opened the door hesitantly and went in, locked the door behind me and turned the key in the lock, and then stood staring at the stage of my soiree, the great red chamber in the castle of Lorient, where the young duke died, or rather where his death began when he opened that door and rolled down the steps. I climbed immediately. This was one of the stories that increased the myths in people's minds about this room. And this room not only killed the duke, but in this room also died a countess whose husband was trying to scare her jokingly with her. So the situation was only to end tragically with the death of the cowardly wife. I began to examine the place with the candle, which gave the place an aura of mystery, and the arms of the place moved away after I closed the door tightly, inspecting every piece of furniture and removing every curtain to see what was behind it. I began to light candles in the place as well as the fireplace, but therefore, it did not remove all my fear from the place, especially with the presence of a far corner in the room that the light does not reach, and it represents a kind of mystery to me. In the end, I decided to go and make sure that there was nothing tangible in that place, and to increase reassurance in myself, I started singing some melodies, but the echo was not nice at all. And with all the light I tried to make the room almost dark. Then I remembered the candles in the corridor, so I went out of the room, counting 10 candles, and began to distribute them in the room. So the whole room was almost lit up, that it occurred to me that if some ghost came I should tell him not to run into all those candles. It was all so well until somewhere one candle went out. I shouted loudly, "For God's sake!" What a strong breeze that extinguished the candle. I took the matchstick and began to light it, and I was no longer able to light it until the candle in the mirror went out. Suddenly I shouted, "This will not work." So one of the candles went out too. So I shouted in a hoarse voice, "What is it?" 4 lights dimmed in different corners of the room. So I lit another match eagerly, but the shadow of the extinguishing surrounded me from everywhere. So I felt that there was a better way. So I put the matches on the table and grabbed the candle holder, thus avoiding the slow ignition of the match. But the extinguishing continued, and the ghosts began to pursue me and gain new ground every time from the shadows and the darkness. Now I was terrified at the thought of the coming darkness, and I had lost all ability to hold on. I was running from each candle to the other in a futile struggle until I bruised my thigh from hitting the table. The last 2 candles in the room, but the room was not completely dark. There was a red light coming from somewhere, the fireplace. Of course, I could still light the candle from the fireplace. And when I went to the fireplace where the flames were dancing between the lumps of coal, suddenly the flame faded without delay. And I felt that the darkness was closing in on me like closing eyelids. And 2 and 3. Then I thought only of running away from that place. So I began to run towards the door, intending to flee without delay. But I had forgotten the location of the door. I bumped into a piece of furniture, and I vaguely remember my running in the dark, my savage scream, my frantic struggle, and suddenly I felt a thunderous thud on my forehead. And the terrible feeling of falling is all I remember. And then nothing. I looked around trying to remember, but I couldn't. I said to the old woman who appeared from the side of the room, "Where am I? I remember you, but I don't remember what happened." I said, "Yes, it is haunted." And the man said, "You saw it, while we live with it every day, but we never saw it, because we did not dare, like you, to do what you did. Tell me, is it the young man who?" I hastened to say, "No, not." If you like the story, do not skimp on us by liking and subscribing. Thank you and bye.